Why is my... Oh, well, it don't matter. Okay. I can see this screen, so that's what matters. So, thanks for doing this interview with me.
Thank you.
It's about time we met up.
Yes. Indeed.
So go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of tell us what you do.
Okay, so my name is Najee. I am originally from New Jersey, but I live out here in Georgia, and I do clothing. I have a clothing brand called DopeAF Brand. So my brand is all about like just celebrating yourself and celebrating who you are as an individual, and then celebrating your victories, because we all go through our like battles on a daily basis. So just pat ourselves on the back.
Yeah, I like that. So what made you start the brand? Let's jump into it.
So, I've always been into like creative things, like when it comes to like graphic designs and stuff like that at a young age. And I can remember like going to movie theaters, and you know like how they'll have like the movie posters with the different
Yeah.
So that always intrigued me. And then like video game covers, like just looking at the covers, like I always wanted to get into design. So I got into designing probably about like '09. Never went to school from it. All self-taught, all just passion. Just wanted to do it. And then I would say around like 2012, when I first moved down here, I was like, I want to create clothes. Always like putting nice outfits together. This is when Tumblr. Do you remember that?
I do. I think I still have a Tumblr, actually.
I still got one too. I used to be like so intrigued with like the photography I would see on there and just like the clothing. So I wanted to do all that, which I'm all into. I do photography as well. So
nice. I didn't know that.
yeah,
That's cool.
I do that as a hobby. Like,
Okay, that's dope. That's dope. So I had a question and then it just left my mind. Hold on.
It happens.
So do you make your own designs for your apparel?
Yes. So like this hoodie right here, I designed this whole thing just on the computer.
Okay. And do you make the clothes as well, or do you have somebody that does that for you?
I have somebody that does
That's
that for
what's up,
me.
yeah.
Yep. I'm more like on the, because like stuff like this I could put together, and then like with my graphic tees, I come up with the concepts, and I'll have somebody do that for me, and then just bring it to life.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So what is the goal for your brand? Where do you want to see it grow to?
Oh, we going all over the world.
Oh yeah, okay.
But I really want to grow it, and I want to inspire too. So like one thing I like to do with my brand as well is I like to do interviews with people. And I like to do it like a magazine. I like to just shed light on anybody else, like an entrepreneur, a creative, anything, an artist, anything like that. I want to shed light on them, because a lot of people wait till you get famous.
Right. Yeah.
And want to show love and everything like that. But like, you know, the progress of it all, like
it's all important. It's all a part of the story.
Exactly.
I agree. That's why I like to shed light on creatives and entrepreneurs as well, no matter what stage they're in, because no matter whether you've made it and you're super successful or you're just starting out, it's still a lot of work.
Exactly.
It's still a lot of hustle that you got to put into it. Yes. You know what I mean? So just being able to see someone's journey where it starts and then like where they grow to, and that's what I like. I like meeting people at the beginning and then see them like, you know, after a point of time and be like, man, like you've come a long way. Exactly. I love that. Like when we first started this network, we used to go to a lot of like pop-up shops. And interview a lot of like the vendors and different things like that. And like now that we are actually like live streaming events and like doing different things now, we've grown, but we also see people that we met at the beginning and they're in like a completely different place. And so it's cool to see how people like progress and like what they grow to be. So that's really awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Don't wait till somebody gets famous and makes it and then be like, oh yeah, I know them.
Right.
Support them while they're trying to get there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's dope. That's dope. That's dope. So, where can people find your brand?
Okay, so I'm on Instagram. You can check me out at dopeasfuck.brand on Instagram, and then my website is getting redone right now because I got my next releases. I'm heavily into astrology.
Okay.
So what's
your sign?
I'm a Sag. But
Okay.
my moon and my ascendant is Cancer.
Oh.
It's fire and water.
Oh boy, that sounds like internal turmoil. But okay.
But what I plan to do is like I want to teach people with that too, because people like when they look at astrology and horoscopes, they look at it like from a ground level, like relationships and everything.
Yeah.
Right? But it's more to it. It's a lot that goes into what makes us us. How we communicate, how we do certain things, how we think, our emotions, all that stuff. So I really want to shed light on that. And like every time I put out clothes, I always want to put out something that connects to people. I don't want to just be doing it just to look cool and everything like that. I want to have like a personal connection. And then when people see it too, it's fire and everything. Oh, that's dope as fuck.
Yeah. So how did you come up with the name? Because that was my next question.
Okay, so that goes back to childhood, like hanging out with my friends, and anything that like intrigued us or we saw was amazing, anything of that nature, we always said that's dope as fuck. Like that was just always the term and the phrase.
Yeah, I use that regularly.
Yep. See,
it's my go-to.
So it's a catch. So it's like, why not make a clothing brand that has that and defines that? And then, like I said, every time you see the products, the clothing, you like, that's dope as fuck. Like, I love getting that reaction from people.
Yeah.
Because when I was out in when I was out in Dallas, I was showing people my brand and everything like that, and that would be the reaction. And then it's like an unconscious thing, and then it all ties in together.
Yeah. Have you? Are you thinking about like putting your brand into like stores or?
Yeah, well, the main goal, like, I would love to get in more stores. I actually have it in one store up in Maryland called AO Boutique. So shout out to AO Boutique. And my main goal is I want to get like a warehouse, and like I want to have like a place where I could be putting together new clothing, have my samples, have space for like content. Like if celebrities want to come through, like something real exclusive and just fun. So that's my big goal.
That's what's up. I think it's gonna happen for you.
Oh, yes.
I can see it in your future. You just got to keep going.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. If you could say one thing to any aspiring artist, entrepreneur, or creator, what would it be?
Stay consistent.
Facts.
Stay consistent. It's always gonna be ups and downs. It's always gonna be like times where things seem to be slow, but just stay consistent, stay inspired, and just have that drive.
Yeah.
I've been doing this since 2012, and my brand has morphed because the original name for my brand was High Achievers. And then like around 2017, that's when I came up with the whole dope as fuck thing. So I've been doing this, and it's been a learning experience.
Yeah. It's definitely a learning experience when you don't have a roadmap.
Yep. Exactly.
I feel that. I feel like I'm constantly like learning something new or trying something different or changing something, revamping something. Like it's constantly like evolving. And I learned that like I'm 4 years in, and I'm like, this is definitely not what. Hi, babe. This is definitely not what I thought it would be like in the beginning. Because like our network started as like a Facebook Live show.
Okay.
So to go from Facebook Live to an entire network, like a streaming platform and all of these different things definitely was not what I envisioned.
Exactly.
But it's great. It's so awesome that you have the fluidity and the ability to just kind of change as you want it. Like you see something, you're like, oh, I want to change this up, or I might want to do something different. So I really like that. And a lot of people think that just because you start out one way, like you can't change it. But no, you change it to fit you. It's yours. You know what I mean? You can't let somebody dictate what your business is. So if you want to change it up, change it up.
And you grow as you go along too. Like you see new things that inspire you, you're gonna add it to your arsenal. You're gonna add it to like how you go about getting it done, or it adds to your vision. So it's just like you painting a picture, and you just, all right, let me add some blue in here, let me add some red in here. It's just having fun with it. For
sure. Yeah, I really like that though, because it really shows like you can meet people in all walks of life in some way, somehow that has an influence on you, whether it be good or bad. And so a lot of people that I meet, whether they've been in the game, you know, a year, 20 years, whatever, I'm always taking in the things that I'm learning. And I'm always like, how can I change my brand to be better? How can I adapt to different things? Like being able to like live stream events and stuff. Like I researched that for like 6 months before I bought any equipment, before I tried it out at an event, anything like that. Like I researched, I was trying to figure out what equipment would work best. YouTube University is the greatest.
It is. It sure is.
And like you just got to try. And I think a lot of people sometimes they're afraid to try because you're gonna fail, or you think you're gonna fail, or you think it's not gonna be like what you expect it to be. But the only way you're gonna fail is if you don't try. Because if you try and you fail, you'll know what you need to correct. Right.
It's better to fail than not try at all.
Facts.
Because if you don't, you'll be sitting there like, what if I would have started, or like. You never know till you try it. So you just got really don't be scared to fail.
I'm gonna ask you this since you've been doing it for so long. How hard has it been to get the support of the people around you in your circle, like people you know?
I mean, that's in the beginning it was really, really hard because it's like again, you're trying something new. And of course like people before they believe in you, they're going to put their own opinions upon you and project that on you and look at it from if they were doing it. And if they don't see the vision, they're not going to like really understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then it's like how I was saying earlier, once you get famous,
they're like, oh yeah, I was here the whole time.
Exactly. But I mean, at the same time too, that I'm glad I learned that earlier on, because at the end of the day, when you go to the mall, or if you go to like any of these well-known high-end fashion brands or anything like that, your first customers or your biggest customers are going to be strangers. They're not going to be the people that's in your circle or anything like that. It's going to be complete strangers. So once I learned that, I just learned like, all right, let me just connect with strangers. Let me put out items that people will connect to. Like for instance, the store I was talking about earlier, AO Boutique. Now that's up in Baltimore, Maryland. I've never been to Maryland a day of my life at that point.
I actually just connected with somebody up there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I gotta connect you with my guy Darrell, but I had never been to Baltimore a day of my life, and I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna have my clothes up there. How can I connect with the people? First thing that came to mind was like sports teams. Everybody has pride in their home sport teams and everything like that. So their baseball team is the Orioles. So what I did was I made a jersey and some t-shirts and some hats, and I designed it in the way that their baseball team logo is, and it just says my brand on it. And when I put that out there, it went crazy because it was like, this is like, people love
something they can recognize, even though it's got your brand name on it. Yeah.
So it was just like a flip on the logo and everything like that, and that was my highest selling like products.
Wow. Okay.
So I just, again, your closest family and friends in the beginning, they
are not your support group. They are not your supporters. They are not.
When you grow your brand or your business and everything like that, it's always going to be strangers. There's always going to be people who you come across on the street. You never know who you strike up a conversation with, and like, hey, check out my brand, check me out. Like, and people will support you. If they really like what you got going, or like they see like the passion in what you're doing, they're gonna support you.
And I've learned that like people really vibe with authenticity.
Yes.
Like not trying too hard to be somebody else or some other kind of brand. Just be like true to like who you are and what you want your brand to be. People tend to stick with that. So I think that's a good thing for people to remember too. Like, don't try to be something else. Don't try to be more than what you are. Like, just be you. You are good enough. Your brand is good enough because this is your story. This is how you're telling it. This is how you're portraying it to the world. And that's what's important. It doesn't matter what somebody else's brand looks like or how long they've been doing it. This is all about you and your journey. So you just gotta stick to that. And people they gravitate towards that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna ask you this, because of course, I'm not in the fashion world or anything like that, but is that a competitive industry? Because obviously there are 1,000,001 brands out there.
Ooh. It's very oversaturated, but at the same time, like, again, you can stand out. You can be very original, and then just, again, knowing more so what you're target audience is, and then knowing like what you want your brand to represent. It's like a person that does music. Like you gotta know who you're speaking to. You gotta know like what that audience is that you're looking to bring towards you. What's your subject matter? What's the message you putting out? Who do you want to connect to? So it, it it's a lot of ways to like really stand out in something very like oversaturated, like I said, because it's like a million and one brands for sure.
Facts.
But it's a lot of stuff that I see that like I see a lot of brands don't cover that I can cover. Like one thing about me, I have a collection, another collection that's coming out soon, and I actually have a T-shirt on under this hoodie, but it's centered around Black love, because I feel like when it comes to like social media, TV, we always see the negatives of it.
Yeah.
We always see, like, we don't really see the highlight of the positive of it. Like, I know so many Black couples that are just thriving, ain't no drama, ain't no trauma, ain't no negativity, none of that. So it's just like, let's convey that message. Let's put that out
let's
there
tell
too.
that story.
We need a balance.
Yeah, and I mean, and really, like, especially in like film, like, it's always the same narrative when it comes to Black people, Black love, Black relationships. It's the same narrative. Like, very rarely do you get the positive, like the happy married couples, or you know, the happy families, or the successful couples. Like, it's always the drugs and the struggling and the daddy done left, and the, like, that happens. Yes, but that is not our entire culture right there. Like, why only put out that type of message, but don't ever show the other side of it? Like, it has to be a balance to show that it's really a matter of what you decide to do with your life. Like, your choices lead down whichever path it is, you know what I mean? So I definitely think that's a really great thing. I'm excited to see that, because I think it's definitely needed. We need to celebrate love more than what is celebrated.
We need that balance. It's like, and again, like you said with film, it's like when Ice Cube did Friday, one of the things he said was that like we have fun in the hood too. Well, it ain't always just shooting and craziness and everything like that, because they have Boys in the Hood, Men's Society, all that stuff. But we needed some comedy. We needed something to laugh at. So we got Friday, and look how much of a cult classic that movie is. Right. And still to this day, you can turn it on, you cracking up. Like,
if you don't know it line for line by now, you behind.
Really been living under a rock.
I think like now as a society, like, we're portraying life how it really is. You know what I mean? Like, all the interracials that we see, all the interracial love we see, like, it's more prominent now, and it's because that's life, you know? That's what's really happening. Like, you want to put out things that people can connect to. Like, if I want to see myself in something, like, oh dang, like this I probably have done that a time or two, you know what I mean? So I think it goes back to authenticity and just staying true to the story, and not just trying to put out something just hoping that people will like it. Like,
what's the popular trend? Because if you do that, that's all you're gonna do is chase that. And nobody's gonna really be able to like relate to whatever you're putting out, because you just chasing what's popular.
I definitely 100%. So I had another question. Hold on.
All right.
I lost it. Hold on. So do you see yourself putting your brand in like fashion shows, or like showcases, or films, anything like that?
Oh, definitely films. I've actually got my clothes in a few films. Shout out to Tyrone Betters.
Hey, my boy.
Yeah, that's one of the first people from Dallas I connected with.
Okay.
And he's worn my clothing in a few films now, probably like 3.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely, you know, filmmakers tap in with me, you know. I'm very supportive. Very supportive. Let's push each other. And as far as like fashion, I'm not opposed to it. Like I would be down for that. I'm not opposed to it. I never really looked into that, but I'm not opposed to it.
Because I always wonder, like, how brands get into, like, New York Fashion Week. They even have one in Dallas, too.
Yeah.
So I always wonder how, like, brands get into those kind of things, because I always see the weird stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, do people really wear this, or did you just make it for the fashion show? Because who's really wearing this in everyday life?
You see a lot of craziness. A whole lot.
And I mean, hey, if that shows your creativity, I'm all for it. But I'm just like, is that realistic? Like, people gonna spend X amount of dollars and never wear it?
Right, exactly. Like, a lot of people, and then that's the thing, like, a lot of people, they'll wear something crazy just because of the name brand, but if you're able to get your stuff to that point, more power to you. I respect it.
Case in point, Kanye West.
Yes.
He made the homeless line, and people was wearing it like that was the thing to do. Like, you could have ripped a hole in your own shirt.
Exactly. And then he got the I think the pods.
Oh yeah.
The sock shoe things, and people buying it.
Yeah.
And then what he did with the Super Bowl, that was so genius. He got that. He paid a few $1 million for that ad, and then I think the clothes were like $20-something, and he made that more like times 3. Like, genius.
Yeah, he's a genius. Yeah,
genius.
Yeah, for sure.
Genius.
But tell the people one more time where they can find you and support you.
Okay, you can find me at DopeAF.Brand on Instagram. That's where you'll mainly find me at, and then my website DopeAsFuck.com. So DopeAsFuckBrand.com. But mainly, the website is being worked on, so mainly look for me on Instagram. And again, any entrepreneurs, artists, creators, tap in with me, because I love to interview. I love to interview you. You don't gotta be famous. You just.
I think we all famous in our own right.
Hey, there you go.
Somebody knows somebody that knows somebody.
Right. But I just love, like, cause when I do the interviews, I like to ask, like, what was their creative spark? What inspired them? Who inspired them? How do they celebrate themselves? Because again, my brand is all about celebrating yourself. So, like, how do you celebrate yourself? And a lot of times when I interview people, like entrepreneurs and everything like that, those questions, they never really stop to think about it.
Yeah, so you have to think about that.
Right. So it's just like I love, like, having that that conversation with them and really just exploring that letting them tell their side and their story and, like, what got them doing what they got to do. And that's something that'll live on. Like, I post an interview, you can share that with your family, your friends, and everything like that. They get more of an in-depth look to what they're doing. So
I'm gonna ask you this, since this was one of the questions you say you ask. How do you celebrate yourself?
I celebrate myself just by, like, I love, like, speaking affirmations into myself. I love, I'm very simplistic. So, like, I love to go to the park, walk in nature, just take it all in. I'm very grateful and thankful. And then I just love to, like, even when I'm designing, I'm listening to music that just got my vibrations up high and everything like that. So just
that's what's up.
Pat myself on the back.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. And it definitely shines through in your brand.
Yes.
So you know, like, you can kind of feel when you're looking at things, you kind of can feel what a person was, like, feeling when they created it, or what, that's the whole point of art, but of course it's open to interpretation. But I'm definitely, like, a person that if I can connect to happiness in something before I can connect to sadness. I've had a lot of sadness in my life, but I prefer I prefer to look at the positive side of things. So I'm always looking for a positive or something happy. So I definitely I can see that in your brand. So
I always see no matter what, always look for the positive in any situation. Perfect example. So my cousin, he has a brand. Shout out to Izzy, my cousin Isaiah. But it was about, like, back in 2023, he had won a contest. So it was like this big clothing event out in LA. And he had won a contest. They did like a random name pick. And he actually won it. So with this contest, like, they provide you with, like, tickets to the event, and then there's, like, a dinner afterwards, like a VIP dinner, and you get to bring one person with you. So he won the contest. Mind you, this is now, like, 2 weeks before the event. It's in LA.
Oh wow.
So we got they don't cover no travel accommodations and nothing
You
like
gotta
that.
get there on your
So
own.
we gotta hustle the money to get to the flights and the Airbnb just to get out there.
Yeah.
So the week of the event was Saturday. We were flying out Friday. That Wednesday, he contacts them because he hasn't heard anything yet, anything like that. He hasn't gotten the tickets or anything. Contacts one of the people that were like on the flyer. He was like, "Oh, you ain't here? The event's canceled."
Oh wow.
After we done made all the purchases and everything like that, he's like, "The event's canceled." So he hit me up and he like, "Man, Cuzzo, they canceled the event, everything like that." Like he was pissed, and I would be too.
Right.
But on the flip side, my cousin had never been to LA. I had been a few times. And then it's like, okay, instead of just like us being upset about the whole ordeal and everything like that, let's go out there. Let's go out there.
Go. Yeah.
Venture out, see how everything's going, have some business cards. Everybody we come across, just tell them about our brands and everything like that. And literally, that's what we did. We had a ball.
Yeah.
So it's just you always gotta turn the negative into a positive. No matter what.
For sure.
No matter what.
That's what's up. And I mean, I'm sure y'all got a lot of new followers, a lot of new people who were interested in your brand and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's definitely like we travel a lot between my wife's job and then we have a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was telling you earlier, we ride motorcycles and we do different things. So we travel a lot. And so getting to meet people no matter where we go, we talk about what we do, and it's always people that are intrigued. One, they're like, "Oh, you ride a motorcycle? You're so short," but that's neither here nor there. But it's cool because you just, even though you might have thought you were going for one thing, you went for something completely different, and it still turned out to be great. And people still learned about you. Your brand still got that spotlight. So that's really dope that y'all still did that. That's what's up.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. Just stop somebody and be like, "Hey."
And then you just gotta look at it too, like, because on the path of like to success and progression and everything, you're gonna have roadblocks, you're gonna have obstacles in the way. You just gotta maneuver away. Stay consistent.
Yeah.
No matter what, like, stay consistent through all the ups and downs. Stay consistent. Just continue to do what you love doing. If you're really passionate about it, you're gonna get it done no matter what.
Facts. Consistency is key. That is what I'm always preaching. You just got to start somewhere and keep going. Don't try to perfect it first and be like, it's got to be perfect. You got to have perfect this and perfect that. You'll perfect it over time.
Exactly.
But if you try to wait, you'll never start. So that's you just got to start somewhere. So
and then the reason that happens too, because we're so used to seeing the finished product with everything. We never see the in between.
Yeah.
The in between, that's a lot in between before you get that final product.
The famous people, they didn't get famous overnight.
Right.
They had to put in the grit, the tears, the hard work, just like all of us are. So yeah, I think now, like, in this time that we're in, like, the transparency is so important, like getting to see the behind the scenes of stuff and how it affects people and what they have to put into that to make it whatever the end product is. Like, that's showing people what the in between is, because before we didn't get that. You see the end product and you be like, dang, how did they do that? But you didn't see the ins and outs of how they achieved it. So
and one of the things that like really like was a big influence that really made me want to even do my brand, I've always been a huge fan of Nipsey Hussle.
Okay.
So I was listening to Nipsey like when I was like 16. And I literally watched his whole like career go from being unsigned to being signed to a major label and then leaving the major label and doing it himself. And just like his development from the mixtapes, everything he was talking about, like I'd seen a whole progression to where he ended up. And it's like, if he could do it from the circumstances that he came from and everything like that, any one of us could do it. And more importantly, we can do it together. Exactly.
People, a lot of people will be like, oh, I can do it by myself, blah, 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 but you can't.
No.
You need a team. You need a community. You need a village. You need support. Like, you can't do it by yourself. And I always wonder, like, especially now with all of, like, the actors, actresses, comedians, all, musicians all coming out and talking about all of the things that happen in the industry. And I'm just like, how come those people who have gone through those things, why didn't they just get together and do their own thing?
Right, exactly.
Like, if you felt like it should be some type of way, you should have been treated better. You should have been paid better. You should have. Why didn't you get together and do it together?
Yep.
Together, you could create a whole empire that's treating people fairly, that's giving people the things that each of you are all saying individually.
Right.
Like, why not do it as a collective?
Exactly.
And I have yet to see that.
Like literally last night, because I was at work last night, and I was listening to Drink Champs, the podcast, and they had the owners, the people that created Fubu on there. They were all childhood friends, and they throughout all these years, like Fubu, like worth over 350 millions in all these different countries and everything like that.
Yeah.
And they worked together as a team, no matter like the obstacles they went through and everything like that. They still stuck it out, and they did it all together as a team. You just gotta know your position, play your part.
Yeah. And communicate.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as y'all are all on the same page and y'all got the same vision, like there's no reason it should be successful.
Right.
No person should be trying to, outshine another person, like, because there's enough room for everybody.
Exactly. We all can eat.
Like you don't got to try to outshine somebody thinking you're going to get something better, because that might not be the case.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's going to be my soapbox for today. Togetherness. Well, I really appreciate you meeting up with me and doing this interview. I know we've been trying to get it done since we got connected last year. Yep. So I'm glad we finally were able to connect.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I look forward to connecting with you more and doing different things. So it's gonna be.
Dallas, be on the lookout. I'm gonna be out there a lot, man. DopeAF Brand.
Yeah. Well, okay.
All right.
That was great.